So I got that swing arm all finished up. Not the prettiest, and I might still lower it maybe half an inch. But it works for now. It's supporting its own weight. Just made some spacers up to go between the frame and the swing arm. The chain out of the way. It was 24 millimeters on this side and 15 millimeters on that side. I think that's an old shock mount bushing or something. I just found it in my toolbox at work. So now I've got the wiring harness from the bike that this motor came from, and I'm going to see if I can make spark happen. Alright, so I got it to spark. No troubles there. So I'm going to squirt some brake clean down the throat and see if it'll chooch. That's promising. Okay, so the motor's out of the frame. Why is the motor out of the frame? That big chunk out of the left crankcase half is why the engine's out of the frame. So I don't like looking into things, but it's got to be fixed. It wouldn't have worked very well like that if I hadn't found it. So there's a couple of options here. Chinese motor, finding a new case half, trying to fix the original 90 motor. But the thing with the ST90 motor is the 3-speed transmission in it. I don't know about this one, but apparently the spacing between first and second is really wonky, and first gear has a habit of grenading. I don't know what this one's like, but what I'm thinking, because I have more time than I have money and cents, is I'm gonna split this motor apart, split that motor apart, try to put the trans, maybe the top end, maybe the crank, I don't know, into these cases, and just see how far I get. It won't cost me anything unless it works, and then I can actually buy like rebuild parts, but I should be able to slam something together and see if it works before I have to put any money into it. I have to split that 110 apart to fix it anyway, so yeah, we'll see how far we get. Okay, so here's the 90cc case split. Transmission looks okay, but it's still a 3-speed. I'd much rather have a 4-speed. I'm not too concerned if I can't swap cranks or whatever to get a 110 top end, because I mean 89cc versus 105, it's not really a noticeable difference, so I'm mostly concerned about getting a 4-speed trans in it. So anyway, I got this case split. See if I can't get that 110 split before I end the night. Another surprise in this CT110 bottom end is this is where the shift drum's supposed to go. Snapped right out of the case. And this screw is loose, so yeah, this bottom end has definitely seen some abuse. Let's see how much is savable. Okay, so I got the 110 split over here. Trans looks okay on it. The 90 over here. I'm going to start by trying to take this transmission set, putting them in here, and then if that goes smoothly, I'm going to try cranks, but I'm not too concerned about crankshafts. For all I know, the stroke's the same. So, but first things first, try to put the transmissions together. So I know it's hard to tell because I got the two case halves on top of each other, but the 4-speed transmission internals are inside the ST90 3-speed engine cases. The Kickstarter even works. So this is very promising. Let's see, what else? I haven't tried the crank yet. Case isn't like bolted together or anything. Before I try pulling the crank out, I just want to Google see what the stroke is between the 90 and the 110. Because if it's the same stroke and I just got to change the piston, then you're laughing. Now let's see, this is 90cc jug. Just want to see if that little sleeve on the inside is the same. If in the 110cc jug will fit in the case. If I can point the camera in the right spot. Ah, it looks the same. So I'm betting this 110 jug will fit in the case. That would be a limiting factor. So I'm going to do my research and see what the stroke is like between these two motors. Right, so here's my dilemma with that ST90 engine. This is the side cover and stator cover, I should say, from the CT110 engine, and yeah, it's cracked. Someone's tried to goober it up, but it's not going to seal. So I'd have to replace that cover to use it. Now, looking back on the bench here, this is the 110 crank in the 90 cases. It does fit. The difference being this one, the end is threaded, and then there's a nut to retain the flywheel, whereas on the 90cc crank, you can dig it out of the box here, it's drilled and tapped to accept the bolt for the flywheel. Okay, so now the concern being the 90 side cover, which is much shallower, does it clear? I've put it on, yes it does. There's about 1/4 of an inch between the end of the crank and the cover. Now, the next issue is the flywheel. Of course, this one being an internal rotor from the 90, it appears to be the same taper, but the threaded end of the crankshaft is too big to allow this to come all the way on. Now, I could drill that out, which would mean I'd have to use something like a 3-jaw puller if I ever wanted to remove this flywheel again. But would I care that much? I don't know. Something to ponder. But it looks like I'll be able to use either crank in this thing. So it's looking good so far. Okay, so I was ready. I was just about to go and drill out the center of this flywheel to fit the 110 crank when I realized I should just check everything over before I do that. If you notice, this is the 90cc crank. How short this stub is and how its tapers much further out on the 110 crank. So if I were to put this flywheel on this crank, it would not be in the contact area of the stator windings. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow the cases apart. They're not bolted together or anything, they're just sitting there. And I think I'm going to have to put the 90cc crank back in it. But like I say, 90cc versus 105, not a huge difference, so I'm not too worried. Just like that. I find when you're doing these jobs where you gotta split the cases, it's easiest to go shifter side down. At least on these Hondas. I find that's the easiest way to do it. and this is still the 4-speed transmission in it with the 90cc kickstart gear. It does mesh quite well with this 4-speed gearbox. Now I am waiting on a gasket set for this bottom end, which is why I won't be buttoning it together just yet. Now, just quickly run a couple of screws through it just to keep it from falling apart. No actual torque on here. Just making sure the cases don't fall apart when I flip it around. So there you go. I have space to put the flywheel rotor in. Just drop our flywheel down here. I think this is the right bolt. Pretty sure it is. We're just doing a dry fit on here anyway. And we'll try with the stator windings. Right on. Okay. That's going to be all for this video. Like I say, I'm waiting for a gasket set. I ordered 2 weeks ago and was supposed to be here last week, but it isn't here yet. Regardless, still waiting for that. So that's going to be all for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.